to another video. Today I thought I would do a motherhood Q&A because I get so many questions over on my Instagram, all things like motherhood, and when I do Q&As over on my Instagram about motherhood, they always go down really well and you guys always like interact and ask so many questions. So I thought I would do one over here for you all. So I put a question box over on my Instagram story yesterday. If any of you guys aren't following me over on Instagram, I'll pop my Instagram name here, as that's where like you guys can get involved in my videos, and yeah, you see like more of my day-to-day life over there. So yeah, I put that on there yesterday and I've got loads of questions, so I'm going to try and get through as many as possible for you all. And I think there is like quite a variety, all things like labour, all things pulling your hair out with children. Yeah, and I'm going to be like completely honest with you all throughout this video, as I think it is just like so important to be honest about motherhood, as sometimes like over on Instagram and stuff it looks like it's like the perfect sort of thing being a parent, but sometimes it can be really hard. And I just want to show to people that haven't like got Instagram and stuff and they think, oh my god, why is my life not perfect like theirs? It just isn't. Like, life is not perfect. People only show you like what they want to show you. So yeah, just keep that in mind when if you compare yourself and stuff, because I know I've done it so many times in the past, but the reality is people do just show what they want. It's like a highlight. I've seen like a few people say this before, like Instagram, that we just show like a highlight of our life, and that is true, because you're not really going to share like all the bad stuff. Obviously sometimes you do, but you're not going to show like all the bad stuff all the time. Okay, so I'm going to just go straight into it now. If you are new to my channel, then please do hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you guys over on my channel, and yeah, I'll put my Instagram name here again. If you could follow me over there, that would mean the absolute world to me as well. If you could also give this video a big thumbs up, that would really help me, as it just always boosts the video to more people. So yeah, that's why I always say if you could like the video, then that would be great. So yeah, I'm just gonna go straight in. I don't know where to start, the bottom or the top. Right, let's start at the bottom. So the first question is tips for getting into a good routine. Right, so with like a good routine, I think a good routine is so important, I think, for the child, and I think for like you as well, and if you're in a relationship, for you and your partner. When we got Nelly into a routine, like I feel like it changed massively. I didn't feel like as stressed all the time, and I just felt like I knew when I could have my time to relax. So what we done, we actually sleep trained Nelly. I know like a lot of people don't agree with it, and that's completely fine. Like, you just do exactly what you want to do. But my sister-in-law recommended it to me and we tried it, and it was honestly like the best thing we ever did. We did do the cry out method, but I didn't do like what everybody advises you to do, like the 5 minutes and then go in 10 minutes. I just done like the 5 minutes, or even sometimes less. Like, I just couldn't handle it sometimes. But honestly, like after 10 minutes she was asleep, and it just basically teaches them to like self-settle themselves, that they don't need you to settle. As before doing that, I would always like tap Nelly to sleep, cuddle her to sleep. It would honestly be like I would cuddle her to sleep or like breastfeed her to sleep and then like put her down. And you honestly, like, any parent will understand this, the putting them down is honestly like you just don't want them to wake up, and then they always end up waking up. But with the sleep training, it ends up being that they self-settle themselves. So in the night, if they wake up, they can just settle themselves back off to sleep. And I think that's like so important for like being a parent, so you don't feel physically drained all the time. Like, you need sleep, they need their sleep, because they're just so much happier when they get the sleep as well. So yeah, so we slept trained Nelly, and that was just like a key factor into getting her into a good routine. We always done like dinner, bath, bed. Like, that was always what we did, especially from like a very young age. We slept trained Nelly from, I think it was like 7 or 8 months, and then she started going through the night. But even before that, from about 4 months old, even maybe a bit younger, we always like gave her a bath every evening, because then she associated the bath with evening time. Now it is completely different. Like, she has a bath in the morning, she has it in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll just put her in the bath to like get 5 minutes peas. But yeah, from a young age, I think bath time is like a really good way for them to associate it with like going to sleep. So yeah, I'd say just sort of like be strict with your routine. If it doesn't work for like 3 or 4 days, then just persevere with it. Like, you need to persevere with anything you're trying, because that child will end up doing exactly like what you want them to do if you persevere with the little routine. And also, just don't be so hard on yourself. Like, routine is so important, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, we had times where it didn't work, and you just have to sort of rearrange your routine if you've been out or anything like that. So yeah, but I do think routine is quite important. So that would be my tips. How do you find the time to do everything you do? Do you know what, honestly, sometimes I don't know. Like, when I think about what I do in a day, sometimes I do like not much, but then other days I like try and pack everything into one day. I think my thing is like planning what I'm going to do in the day, and sometimes I am like hard on myself, and sometimes if I don't get things done, I like really beat myself up about it. I just think like I should have got that done today, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then sometimes it all just does get like a bit too much for anybody. But I would think my recommendation would be to just try and plan your day, but also with like having a young child or even like a toddler, just sometimes things don't go to plan. Sometimes they're good and yeah, like they're happy for you to do whatever you want to do. Other days they need your full attention. You sort of have to just like forget about anything that you actually wanted to do in the day. Like, my day now is like much busier than it used to be, but obviously like I never used to do like my YouTube channel, I never used to do my Instagram. I used to just like deal with Nilly, clean, and just sort of like have more of my own time and sort of just like be like a mum and like being at home. But now where I do like my Instagram, my YouTube, it sort of gave me like a sense of, when I do this, like this is like my time, and I'm doing this for like me, obviously like Ross and Nelly as well, but it's just something that I have for me. So yeah, doing this has really helped me not to feel as if that is all I do with my day, but sometimes that can be like quite an overwhelming feeling for a mum. So yeah, sometimes I do loads and sometimes I don't. So I honestly don't know like how I find the time to, sometimes when I have like a really busy day, I don't know how I find the time. I just sort of, I think I just don't sit down. I rush myself off my feet, and then in the evening I love to sit down, me and Ross watch telly, we chill out. So like once Nelly goes to bed, that is like our time, and I think that is very important as well. From Nelly being born till now, what age did you find the easiest? Looking back now, so Nelly is 3 in a month's time, and looking back now, I just spilled all my water. Yeah, looking back now, I would say like newborn to, no, I'd say like 3 months till a year. No, 3 months to, yeah, 3 to a year is like easy now. I think at the time it wasn't. Like at the time I thought it was like so hard sometimes. Sometimes I did find it easy and think, yeah, like this is fine. But looking back now, like that is easy. Like it is, like they sleep a lot. Like Nelly had 2 naps a day. I had so much more time on my hands, when now like I've got Nelly from the minute she wakes up till the minute she goes to bed. It is constant. She wants us to like play with her constantly. She needs obviously 3 meals a day. She constantly wants to do everything, and it is just so much more full on having a toddler than a newborn. Yeah, me and Ross always say like that was just so easy compared to now, but obviously each person is different. We was very lucky, and Nelly was like a really good baby, so I think maybe that was lucky. Maybe next time if we don't have a good baby, I might say different. Next question is, do you also have pull your hair out days? Life with an almost 3-year-old has been intense recently. And yes, I do. Like, honestly, some days Nelly just gets me to the point where not even, I can't explain it. Like, she just wants. It's that constant want, and it's always, mummy, I want this, mummy, I want that. Obviously, where Ross works from home, but he's like in the office and he's doing his own thing. Sometimes like I go, Nels, just go and ask daddy, because sometimes like he can just deal with her and stuff if I'm doing anything. But majority of the time she does ask me anyway to do things for her. And sometimes when it's like want all day, it can get to a point where, yeah, like I literally just feel like pulling my hair out. But I think it is also like, just remember that they are like, they need you, and they're like so dependent on you. So when I like think of that, then I start feeling bad about having those days. But it is completely natural to get those days where you just feel like you need a break, because everybody does need a break. Were you scared when you fell pregnant? At first I wasn't scared. I was like absolutely over the moon. Me and Ross both were. We was very lucky, like our family was so happy as well. Yeah, we was like very happy about the whole situation. It wasn't until I got to about, I think after our first scan, I started to feel like a little bit scared. I thought, can I do this? Like, my fear was, am I going to be able to like look after a child? So I think that fear like carried, but I think it's completely natural. I think everybody probably has this. Everyone I've spoke to, they've had this as well. And then when you get to about 8 months and you think in a month's time you're going to have a baby, you generally contemplate your life. Like, you think, oh my god, can I do this? Like, is this going to be hard? And the truth is, it is going to be hard, but you will get through it and it is fine. It all works itself out. But to have that fear and yeah, that fear to think, am I going to be able to do this, is completely natural. How did your labour go? So my labour went, I'd say really well. To comparison of what like some stories I've heard, I think I had like a really nice labour. Obviously labour isn't the best thing that anybody could go through. It is hard and painful, and there's no like getting away from that. But I think everybody knows that that is going to happen. But my labour did go pretty well. So my waters broke. I had nearly 40 plus 4 days, and my waters broke on 40 plus 3 days. So Nelly was, yeah, 4 days overdue, but my waters broke on me being 3 days overdue. And so I waited for contractions, and contractions weren't happening for me. They then started to happen. Well, I thought they was contractions looking back, and obviously once going to the hospital they wasn't at all. But I just started to have the worst pain I can ever explain happening, and it was worse than like labour pain and contractions. And so I went to the hospital thinking like, I'm ready to give birth. Like, this pain was, I can't even explain this pain to you. Went there, and then they like checked me over, and they saw that I wasn't even dilated, or I think I might have been like 1 centimetre dilated, something like that. And they was like, no, like, you're fine, you can go home. And I honestly remember saying, I can't do this. Like, if pain is now, and I obviously knew it was going to get like 10 times worse, I said, I can't do this. I said, I need it cesarean. I said to my mum, I said, Mum, and like Ross's mum was there as well, I said, I cannot do this. I was rolling around on the floor. I was in so much pain, and they ended up realising that the pain was in pregnancy. I had like a really bad hip. I forget what they call it now. It was like I ended up having to go to physio and have crutches and stuff. But yeah, I had like a really bad hip, and basically where Nelly, like my waters broke and Nelly was like going into the position, and she was obviously like on my hip, and honestly like the pain was so bad. So compared to that, so basically they sent me home and had gave me cocodamol. So I basically just slept, and then it got to around about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I started to feel like these pains, but it was a different sort of pain now. But I did just generally think it was still the same pain. I was booked in for an induction at 7 o'clock the next morning. So I just thought it was still the pain from my hip, and then eventually I realised that it was contractions. It got to about 3:30 in the morning. I then thought, right, they was coming on quite quick now. I was on the phone to my mum, and my mum said, right, I'm just going to come and get you, and we're going to go to the hospital. So I woke Ross up. I left Ross asleep because I thought he just needs to sleep because he's going to be awake. Then wake him up, and we go to the hospital, and then Nelly was then born. So I think we got to the hospital around 4 o'clock, and Nelly was born at 7 o'clock in the morning. I think it was, I always get confused, I think it was 7:02 she was born. Yeah, it was 7:02 she was born. So yeah, I had quite a quick, like from being at the hospital, it was quite a quick thing. Then had to stay overnight because I lost quite a lot of blood. But other than that, it was just really, like, I remember it all as well. I only had gas and air. I could deal with that. The pushing, I remember just being like very tiring. You do honestly forget, like I forget about like so many little things. About like the pain, you forget what the pain is. I guess that is why people have so many children, because now I don't even remember that sort of pain that I went through. I just knew it was painful. So yeah, overall I was quite lucky with my labour, so I am very happy about that, and I hope that the next labours are as smooth and as okay as that one was. What's the hardest thing you find about being a mum? I think the hardest thing is not like having like you time as much, especially a first time mum. Second time mums, I think you probably wouldn't like experience this, but like as much. But I think first time mum, obviously you've gone from having all of your time completely to yourself to then it basically just being all taken away, and your time is now for this little person. And I think that is really hard, and it does take time to adjust to that. And I know some people find it like much harder than others with that, but I'd say that was the hardest thing for me. And yeah, just being like constantly needed. But obviously that is the most rewarding thing at the same time, that you are needed and loved and they need you. But it's also can be very hard as well. There is actually a question here, what's the most rewarding thing? For me, the most rewarding thing about being a mum is like seeing Nelly like learn things, especially at the age she is now. Like she comes out with things that just make me and Ross like absolutely crack up. Like yesterday she said, I think there was like a cable tie or something from Christmas decorations, and she said that's plastic, and me and Ross just look at each other and think, where the hell does she learn this stuff? But I think them little things are so rewarding as a parent, because you just see them like grow up, and yeah, it really is so lovely. Even like Nelly potty training and now learning to go on the toilet, like all those little things are very rewarding. So I think each development that they get as a parent, it is very rewarding. Someone said, where do you get Nelly's clothing from? We get Nelly's clothing from like a variety of places really, mainly Zara now. I absolutely love Zara's clothing for Nelly. I just love the all like neutral colours and the fit of the clothing, and the quality of it as well for the price is so lovely. River Island Children, I absolutely love their stuff as well. They have like really trendy like pieces that I love. Even places like Tesco, they have really cute things. Asda have cute things. Also, I love Primark. Primark's children clothing does come up really small, so we always like up size in Nelly's stuff in there. But it's really good for like basics, like your leggings and stuff. And Next as well. Next is really lovely for children's clothing. Good activities to do at home. So I'd say with like a toddler, if this is like what you're meaning from this question, is I think anything really. Like toddlers are so easily entertained, aren't they? But then they can also get bored very, very easily. I think like arts and crafts, Play-Doh. Nelly loves to like play with her toys like Lego. Nelly loves reading books at the moment as well. I think anything like one-on-one time they absolutely love. Obviously you cannot be doing one-on-one time all day long because you need to get on with like everyday life, but I think it is important to sort of like try and sit down and do that at least like once a day, or yeah, once a day with them, because they then get that like interaction from you. What nappy brand did you use? We actually used Pampers. I think they was like the premium protection, but it was only because Nelly was getting rashes from like other nappies, so they're the nappies that ended up didn't give Nelly a rash, so we ended up getting those ones. But then when Nelly got to wearing pull-ups, we then used Pampers, and then we changed over to the Aldi nappies. They are honestly like so cheap, and they was fine with Nelly. Nelly didn't get nappy rash with them, so yeah, I'd really recommend them. And then we swapped over to the Lidl ones. Can't actually remember why we swapped over. I think we was maybe just in there one day and then got some from there, and then yeah, we've used them ever since. So Nelly still wears them at night time now. How's potty training going? Yeah, potty training is going really, really well. She's basically fully potty trained now. She wears knickers all day and then just a nappy in the evening, but most of the time she wakes up with a dry nappy now and needs a wee. Like last night I actually had to get up at like 3 in the morning because she needed a wee. She just shouts mummy wee, so we went to wee and then she went back to sleep fine, and then this morning she like done a wee as well. So yeah, it's going really well. We did have like slight issues with the number 2 situation. She just was going in her knickers. I think it maybe take longer to grasp the going a poo, but yeah, like for the past 2 or 3 days I think she has gone on the potty, so I think fingers crossed that is that sort of sorted now. Did you breastfeed, and would you recommend? I did exclusively breastfeed Nelly until she was 6 months. I think it was around 6 months old, and the only reason I actually stopped at that age was because she wouldn't take from a bottle, and it was really hard if I needed to go anywhere and leave her. I didn't like to leave Nelly much as a young baby anyway, but if I did need, or even like needed someone to feed her if I was doing something, I just generally couldn't do that. So I think that is the only downside for me that I found. So, and then I think I had like a water infection or something, and it just really dawned on me that if I was to ever go into hospital or anything like that, then she generally wouldn't feed from this bottle. So I then sort of slowly weaned her off breast milk, and then we ended up using formula. I would honestly recommend breastfeeding to anyone. I would do it over and over again with like the next children, but the thing that I would do is introduce a bottle. I'll probably do like combi feeding, I think, next time round, because obviously I'm not sure like with Nels how I'll deal with like a baby and a toddler. I think a combi feeding thing would work really well for us. Do you find it expensive being a mum? I would say yes and no. From their like age of like newborn to about a year, I wouldn't say it's expensive. I think it's more expensive like now than it was then, only because I feel like Nelly's just constantly growing. She constantly needs like new clothing and stuff, but overall I wouldn't say it is too expensive really. Sorry, my storage went. So yeah, like I was saying, they really don't need much. They obviously need to be fed, clothed, and anything extra is just a bonus. Right, so I'm going to just answer a few more because I've just realised I've been talking for about half an hour, so this is going to be quite a long video. So there's like a few more that I can see that are jumping out to me that I want to answer. So, does Nelly have out of control moments, and how do you deal with them? So we went for a stage of, I think she's done it about 2 or 3 times, and she's just had complete meltdowns. One was before she started like talking properly. She just used to get so frustrated, and she had one then, and then I think about not long after her 2nd birthday, she had I think 2 of them, and you just basically had to ignore her. We like done the naughty step thing and things like that, but it just wasn't working, so the best thing was to just ignore her. So yeah, she definitely has, but we did just like ignore her, tell her that it's not right to do that. But I think the more we spoke about it and the more she realised that it wasn't right to do that, the more she was doing it. So the best thing that we did was just ignore the tantrum, and she just like got over it really. Do you and Ross always agree with each other when it comes to parenting? Majority of the time, yeah, we do. I don't actually know things we disagree on. I think at the age Nelly is at the moment, there's not much to disagree on, to be honest. Yeah, I can't actually think of anything we do disagree on. I guess as she gets older, there will be a lot of things that we probably will disagree on. But yeah, at the moment, we do sort of agree with everything each other says. What changed after having Nelly? To be completely honest, I'd say I changed as a person. I always say the day you walk out of that hospital, you honestly just change forever. Because I don't really know how to explain it, but I just feel like I just changed. As soon as I had Nelly, I completely changed. I think my outlook on life was completely different. Like, all that now matters is as long as Nelly is happy and healthy and me and Ross are happy and healthy, then that is really all that matters. And as long as like Nelly's doing really well and learning, and it's like them sort of things that mean so much to me now, even though they probably did before, but I didn't realise like how important they was to me before. And even like little things with like myself personally, like I used to be like very self-conscious of sort of things, and like of my body, but then after having Nelly, I knew that none of that sort of matters, and I don't really need to be so like consumed in myself as I then was. Yeah, I'd say that I completely changed after having Nelly. Last question I'm going to answer is, did your relationship with Ross change after having Nelly? I'd say it did slightly in like all different aspects of like a relationship. I think you sort of love them completely, like you love them the way you did before, but then you also have like a whole newfound love for them because they obviously love something that you love like exactly the same. So I think that sort of changes. So like I feel like you just love them a bit more. Also, like it does get hard sometimes, like you do bicker at the beginning as well. Like it is hard because you're both adjusting to this like new life and this little human that needs you both. So yeah, like it can, like you can bicker a bit more and stuff, but just like stick together, I'd say, through it all. It does get easier as well. Like I know at the moment to some people it might be really hard, but yeah, I think just stick together through it and it all works out in the end. So yeah, that is going to end today's video. I'm sorry if it was like a really long one, but I absolutely love doing these like chatty videos sitting on my bed. I think is the most like natural sort of videos for me to do. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you did all enjoy. Like I said, if you could give the video a big thumbs up, comment below any other sort of questions you want me to answer or any advice you need, because I'll be in the comments down below when this video goes live. So yeah, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I know you've heard it all before, but you are the love of my life. I knew when you came through the door that you are the love of my life.